Hi everybody, thanks for making this video a part of your day. I appreciate you coming in and taking a look at what we're working on, and maybe you can get some ideas for your property. Okay, so this is the second installment of the property transformation I'm working on in central Pennsylvania. This property sits on a mountain inside of a big ag area, and there's some state land adjacent. So with the thickening of the woods that we're doing and the food plots that we're putting in, the idea is to get the deer to move in there after all the ag is harvested and there's not much to eat out there and there's hunting pressure on the state land. The deer will move into this property for sanctuary and lots of food. So in this video we're going to finish up the food plots. You saw how we cleared them and de-stumped them, and then we're going to finish the ground, put some amendments on: lime, compost, biological. This is very poor soil, so we have to really take care of that soil, make sure it's healthy and tilled properly and all the amendments are in, otherwise you'll never get anything to grow there. So we put on a summer mix of warm season plants. It's the end of July now, and so that should grow for a month, and then after about 6 weeks we'll drill in our fall food plot. So that'll be food for fall, winter, spring, during those critical periods. And of course we want to attract lots of deer for hunting, but we also want to feed them over the winter and into that hard time, that time of scarcity in February and March. So there should be plenty of food. We're putting in 4 acres like that. Next year we'll put in probably another 3-4 acres of food plot. All right, I hope you get something out of this video and enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so we just spread compost on here, and we put a couple tons of compost per acre on. It's just a little light skiff of that, just to give the biology that we're going to put on later a place to live. And there's about 4 tons of lime on here, high mag lime. And now that everything's on and the place is fairly well cleared off, we'll come through with a heavy duty tiller and we'll till everything in together, smoothing it up, and put the seeds on. So the next step will be to spray that Bio 800 on there, and I'll show you how we're going to do that next. It's a perfect time to put the biological inoculant on. It's starting to rain and it's supposed to thunderstorm this afternoon, so we don't want the sun to beat down on that stuff before we can get it underground. So it's just kind of lucked out that the weather changed today and got a little moisture. So this is working out really well. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is run the windrower. After the tiller is done, you end up with a pretty rough field with lots of rocks kicked up, and it's a little too puffy. And what the windrower does is it'll get all those rocks moved off the surface and level up the soil. That way when we put the seed on, we can just go over it with a cultipacker and have a fairly smooth field. So as you can see, when he makes a pass, it'll move all the debris and the stones off to one side. And you can keep working them all the way across the field if you want, or you can scoop them up or run the rock crusher across if there's a lot of stones. What you end up with is a pretty decent seed bed. It's tilled up nice and soft, leveled off. You can put seed right on there and cultipack it in. And we pack that down a little bit. There's enough moisture it'll pack because it rained yesterday. And even though that's a sandy soil, you know, if we get a few steady rains once a week maybe, even though it's July, you could probably get a decent stand growing. What we're going to do is plant a summer cover crop for the summer, and then come fall we'll put in our fall, winter, spring food plot. Yeah, so you can see how he keeps working that around and around and keeps moving all the debris off to the side, and you end up either windrowing, or if you can keep it moving, if it doesn't get to be too big of a pile, you can move it all the way over to the edge, which you might end up doing. That saves you having to go through and pick this stuff up or run the crusher over it. Quite a bit of debris here. It's not quite as rocky as I thought it was going to be, but there's some stone in here. It beat the tiller up pretty good, but that's how it goes. It's not easy. It's turning out good. Alright, well, here's your finished product. There's a 2-acre food plot here. There used to be nothing but rocks and trees. So, people have written in the comments on some of these projects that I post on YouTube about, hey, you know, this isn't realistic. Who can afford all this machinery? And I can tell you that this didn't cost anything out of the landowner's pocket. You know, there's some front money, but we're going to be able to harvest enough timber off the property using the timber stand improvement techniques and selling what we can out of that to pay for all of this. That's what I try to do. We strive to get the food plot money out of the timber, and at the same time you're improving your timber stand and providing browse and cover. So what we're going to do on these fields, they're still working on the, I don't know if you can hear it, but they're back there working on another food plot. We're going to put in, it's the end of July, we'll put in a Raise Crazy summer mix for a cover crop, and we'll start the engine going here and hopefully get some germination. It's very hot and dry this time of year, so if we're lucky and we get some good rains, which is supposed to rain next week, that's why I'm really pushing for this to be all seeded by next week. We're supposed to get possibly 3 days of rain. So if we get that, things will germinate, and we try to use varieties that are generally hot weather varieties. Sorghum Sudan grass is one. So sorghum Sudan, you can plant that right in the middle of summer, and if you get any moisture at all, it'll grow. Millet, buckwheat, things like that. We'll put some brassicas in as well, and they have a tendency to take right off as soon as you get some rain. So that will only be for a month. Probably 6 weeks from now, we'll go ahead and put our fall food plot in, and that'll be my fall, winter, spring into next summer food plot that'll feed deer all through the stress periods of winter. So I'm going to call it a day here for this part, and then at the end, when we come back to replant this for the fall food plot, we'll take a look at it and we'll go ahead and plant that fall stuff, and then I'll maybe put some trail cameras up and you can see what's feeding in here. It can be pretty exciting. Now, if you want to have me come and take a look at your property and design one of these projects for you, get in touch with me through my website down below, and there's a lot of information on there. You can just read the website, the blog, and look at the YouTube videos, and there's courses on my website that you can take. If you have food plots and you're struggling with them, you might want to take a look at these courses and try to learn a little bit more about what's going on with soils and growing things for deer. Keep in mind that whenever you put in food plots, it's a supplement, number one, and number two, what you're trying to do with a food plot is to take sunlight turning into carbon, sugars that deer can eat, turn into bodies, antlers. And it doesn't matter as much what's on the bag and who made your seeds or who bred those seeds. What matters is you get healthy soil. You work on this soil, get it to where it'll grow just about anything. The soil will take care of you, okay? So that's about it for that. And anyway, looks pretty good. You could go through this and pick rocks by hand if you want and put the finishing touches on it, but it's not really necessary. And I'm too old and lazy to do that, so we're going to call it a day here. All right, keep an eye out for the next installment of this project. I'm going to try to get some drone footage of the whole thing so you can see what's going on the entire acreage. I don't want to say how many acres it is because the guy wants to be really private about it. I'm not going to say where I am and stuff. So anyway, hope to hear from you. Feel free to email or get in touch with me by phone, and we'll discuss your situation, and maybe I can help you right over the phone. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.